Hello again, tourists, and hello for the first time if you're new to the channel. Tour de Force here. It first started with FL Studio where, while I wasn't the biggest fan of it, I was able to make a beat somewhat successfully after a couple restarts. Then it went to BandLab, where I was pleasantly surprised at how easy, simple, and intuitive all of the little features were for making quick beats. As heard at the end of the BandLab video, which I recommend watching if you haven't, I wanted to drive the series straight into the gutter by using something that is so universally infamous, so utterly hated, and just so against everything that a DAW should stand for. And thus, here we are at Audacity, a DAW that should never be used for music production in the slightest. It is more so used for voice recordings for videos. I've been using Audacity for audio files and voice recordings for a while now, but I've never attempted actually producing music in it until now. Will I suffer greatly, or will I prevail and make something worth listening to? Stick around and find out.
Welcome all you tourists! It's the Suffering with Tour de Force show, starring none other than Tour de Force himself. Watch him suffer in today's episode where he uses Audacity to make a song. What a f***ing moron!
Alright everyone, we're in a new Audacity session here. I mostly just use this for recording voice and other recordings like that, so I'm not too sure what it's like for recording certain things. I know some things like, yep, this is how you add a new track. I know there's effects. I never use them though. They always seem like kind of stock effects that just don't sound very good. I was looking over here in the generate section, and I see a couple things that are kind of interesting. One being the rhythm track and pluck and the reset drum. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but we're gonna try listening to it. Rhythm track. Let's just do it like that, and let's see how the swing sounds. I'm sure it'll sound great. So it seems like whatever I just chose, I think it's the rhythm track, is really just a metronome. It doesn't really do much else. I thought it'd be like a MIDI drum set or something. I don't know why I thought that. Let's try that reset drum. So it just kind of sounds like a bass hit. It doesn't really have much to it. It's not really kick drummy at all. Well, since there's no snare, hi-hat, or any other sort of MIDI drum, I'm just going to use that as the kick drum, I guess. I have no clue what that sound is. It's kind of like a harp pluck. I don't see when you'd actually use that, considering you have to manually put the pitch in for every single note that you want to play. Wow, that is actually terrible. It's just like a sine wave that goes up. It just doesn't sound good at all. I'm never going to try these other ones, honestly. It's just not even worth it. Like noise, silence, tone, DTMF tones, it's just not even worth trying. Alright, you know what? That's just going to be part of the drum sound. I'm going to do another track with a different type of sound, just to give more sound to the mix. The sound is very close to a kick drum, but it's not quite there. Maybe I'll add a couple more sounds to make a fuller type of kick drum. Let's add an effect to this just to make it sound a little less dry, because it's just way too hard for me to listen to right now. Let's add some reverb and possibly reverse or something. Okay, we've got some type of bells type of sound, although I'm not a really big fan of it, so let's just try something else. I like this sound more. It's got a tribal sort of thing going on that I can definitely work with. And the effects always work. Just trust in the effects. Any sort of reverb will always help. Either a reverb or delay or something just to add some more sound to it. I'm literally just adding random effects and hoping whatever works just happens to work. We got a little bit of a wah-wah sort of thing going on. There's a lot of different effects like that are, they don't really fit Audacity, but I'm still going to use them. Let's add some light distortion, why the f not? I think it's time to change this metronome type of sound into something a little bit more interesting. Maybe add some wah-wah to it again, tweak whatever these settings are. I'm not too sure what these settings are saying, but try to get to work. Same with this twinkling sound. There needs to be some effects on it because it's just way too boring. I'm gonna just experiment with various things here. Keep in mind at this point in the video, I realized that this is meant for acoustic drums and not the way I'm doing it. Don't do it this way, please. Never do it this way. I will say one thing, I've never made a drum kit like this before, for better or for worse. It's sounding kinda complete here, or as complete as I can get it in this DAW with no acoustic drums. I'm gonna go get my synth since I'm pretty sure this DAW has no MIDI instruments. Okay, I got my synthesizer plugged in and ready to go. I'm gonna choose a random patch that I think sounds cool and just record it from there. I'm not the biggest fan of what I just played, but maybe I can fix it later. Let's try a different patch for now. I like the sound. So this annoying thing keeps fucking happening where I record and it starts recording at the end of a random track. I had to just look it up to find this option, even though that's kind of breaking the rules, but whatever, I made the rules. This sound can give deserty vibes, right? One pretty extreme problem is that I'm having issues keeping on beat with this basically beatless beat. That's a lot of beats. So I'm adding a metronome. Now the rhythm is slightly more obvious, and I can definitely work with that a little bit better. Adding a bass now, since I'll have to do that eventually anyways. Might as well get it out now. Voiced over DeForce here. Since I'm focused on playing guitar, I'm going to have to fill in for a bit. Right now I'm just adding a couple layers of guitars playing vaguely the same riff. Sometimes I fuck up, but I just didn't care enough to change it at the time, so those fuck ups will be part of the song. Keep in mind this whole song is improvised, so I had to quickly learn the notes that sound quote-unquote correct for the solo section. Think of it as learning the scale and key of the song without knowing what either of them are. Anyways, that's enough from voice over DeForce. Let's go back to the normal DeForce. 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 Now that I've got the solo and guitars dealt with, I'm going to compress and maybe even EQ the guitars to fit into the mix more. Maybe even add this phaser as well to the solo. I'm gonna have to call it quits here for Audacity. This whole session is just taking way too long, and I don't want to have to edit more than I have to. Screw mastering it, I'm just gonna keep it raw. It's just not even worth it. I've got it basically all finished, so let's just give the whole thing a listen. I can't really say that I expected more from Audacity, as I already knew what it was capable, or in this case, incapable, of doing. I'm sort of like a dad whose son just lost an important baseball game. I'm not mad at Audacity, I'm just more disappointed than anything. I might even have to leave for an extended period of time to get Audacity some milk from the gas station. What do you guys think of Audacity and the beat that I made in it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And just to lessen the pain and suffering brought onto me by this DAW, please like and subscribe while you're at it, as it'll help me sleep at night. I might need therapy after this video. Take it easy, everyone. Tour de Force out.